Lewis Hamilton didn't hold back after the race in Jeddah. He was open, raw, and honest about how things felt behind the wheel of the Ferrari SF25. He didn't give the usual media-polished answers or find ways to make the race sound better than it was. No, he said it straight. It was horrible. I didn't enjoy it. That wasn't about bad luck or small problems. That was frustration from a 7-time world champion who knows what greatness feels like and isn't experiencing it right now. Watching him speak, you could see the difference. The calm, collected Hamilton who usually finds the silver lining in a tough race wasn't there. Instead, there was a man trying to make sense of a car that wouldn't respond, no matter what. He did. That's not just a bad day at the office, that's the kind of performance that makes you question if the partnership is working at all. This is not what anyone expected when Hamilton joined Ferrari. The headlines were about legacy, about building something historic. But in Jeddah, the story was about confusion, disconnect, and a Ferrari that seemed more like a stranger than a teammate. He tried everything. He changed the setup. He adjusted the driving style. He looked for answers in every corner. But the car didn't give anything back. Hamilton described it like driving in the same spot but getting a different result every time. That's not just poor handling, that's a complete lack of consistency. And in Formula One, consistency is everything. You can't drive on the edge of performance if you don't know where the edge is. And for Hamilton, that edge was missing. The trust between driver and car, which is usually invisible but essential, wasn't there. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc was having a completely different day in the same car. He landed on the podium with ease. That makes things even more complicated because it means the car isn't entirely broken. It works, but only for one driver. That puts a spotlight on the relationship between Hamilton and the car. It's not that he's slow or lost his edge. It's that the machine doesn't speak his language. And that's a tough place to be when you're trying to perform at the highest level in the world. This situation isn't just about car performance. It's about identity. It's about the fit between a legend of the sport and a team known for its deep traditions and expectations. Ferrari is not just any team. It carries a weight that few other teams do. When Hamilton signed that contract, he wasn't just taking a new seat. He was stepping into something historic, something emotional. And with that comes pressure. The pressure to deliver, the pressure to match the mythology, and the pressure to belong. But right now, it doesn't feel like he belongs. The car is moody. One weekend it looks like a winner, the next it barely wants to be driven. That kind of unpredictability is the worst enemy for a driver who depends on feedback and balance. For Hamilton, who built his success on cars that felt like an extension of himself, this Ferrari feels like a silent partner in a dance that requires rhythm and response. He knows what he needs, but the car won't give it to him. What makes it worse is the comparison. Leclerc isn't just doing well, he's thriving. He's been with Ferrari for years. He knows how the team works, he knows how the car behaves. And maybe the SF25 was designed more around his style, whether intentionally or not. That's not favoritism. That's familiarity. It's the result of years of collaboration. So when Hamilton struggles, it doesn't just look like a car issue. It starts to look like a driver issue. And that's the dangerous part. Because once people start questioning the driver instead of the machinery, the narrative starts to shift in a damaging way. Hamilton isn't washed. He hasn't lost it. He's still the same driver who turned rainy chaos into masterclasses. But he's in a situation now where nothing feels settled. He's trying to bond with a machine that seems uninterested in bonding back. And Ferrari, for all its brilliance, doesn't have a great track record of giving drivers time to figure things out. This isn't Mercedes, where he spent over a decade building a legacy. This is a new world with new systems, new voices in his ear, and a new way of racing. The learning curve is steep, and the stakes are high, because 2024 was never supposed to be the peak year. It was always meant to be the transition season. 2025 is when the real test begins. New regulations, a fresh car philosophy, and a chance to build something that actually fits. But right now, that goal feels very far away, and the fear is that by the time everything aligns, the moment might be gone. There's also the question of team dynamics. Leclerc is more than just a teammate. He's the face of Ferrari's future. He's been through the tough years, the rebuilds, the failures. And in return, Ferrari has built around him. That makes it hard for someone like Hamilton to walk in and take equal footing. Even if you're a 7-time world champion, you can't just demand space in a house that someone else built. And Leclerc's bond with Ferrari isn't just about performance. It's about identity. He is Ferrari, and Ferrari is him. Hamilton has to navigate that. He has to find a way to fit in without losing who he is. And that's the real challenge. Because the worst thing that can happen to a driver is not losing races, it's losing your sense of self. When your feedback is ignored, when your style doesn't match, when your teammate keeps outperforming you in the same machinery, it chips away at you. Not just your confidence, but your whole foundation as a competitor. But here's the thing, Hamilton hasn't given up. He's still showing up. He's still searching. He's still believing that this can work. That matters. Because it's easy to perform when things are perfect, it's easy to smile when you're winning. But real character shows when things are broken, when nothing makes sense and you still keep going. That's where Hamilton is right now. He's in the trenches, and he's trying to turn a broken rhythm into a symphony. The road ahead won't be easy. There will be more tough weekends, more races where Leclerc shines and Hamilton struggles. But every lap he completes, every setup change he experiments with, brings him a step closer to understanding the car. Ferrari, too, needs to listen more. They need to understand what Hamilton needs, not just from a performance perspective, but from a psychological one. Great teams don't just build great cars, they build trust. In 2025, everything changes. The regulations shift, the designs evolve, and that's when we'll truly see if this partnership was meant to be. Because that's the year that counts. This season is just the groundwork. The messy, painful, frustrating foundation that might one day hold something legendary. Or it might not. But if it doesn't, it won't be for lack of trying. Hamilton came to Ferrari not to fade away, but to create something unforgettable. And sometimes building a legacy means going through the fire. It means walking through races like Jeddah where nothing feels right, and still showing up the next day ready to try again. That's the heart of a champion. That's the story we're watching unfold, not a fairy tale, not yet. But something real, something raw, and something worth waiting for. So, yes, the struggle is loud right now. The car doesn't feel like home. The results don't match the hype. But underneath it all, there's still belief. Belief that this story isn't over. That this car can be tamed. That this partnership can sing. And if it ever does, if the red machine and the man in the red suit ever find their rhythm, the rest of the grid better be ready. Because when Hamilton dances, he doesn't just win races. He rewrites history as the season unfolds. Lewis Hamilton's resolve will undoubtedly be one of the most scrutinized narratives in the paddock. For a driver of his caliber, one who has broken records, redefined consistency, and shaped eras, this phase of transition may seem like a step backward on paper. But in motorsport, as in life, growth often hides in the shadows of discomfort, and Hamilton, with his experience and unwavering will, is uniquely equipped to turn struggle into mastery. The challenges with the SF25 go beyond surface-level mechanics. It's about chemistry, the way a driver feels the car under braking, the way it responds mid-corner, and the confidence it inspires at the limit. At Mercedes, that chemistry was refined over years of development, with the car often tailored around Hamilton's feedback. At Ferrari, the narrative is still being written. The car doesn't yet speak his language, but Hamilton is a master linguist behind the wheel, and it's only a matter of time before he begins to translate its unpredictable behavior into rhythm and pace. What makes this moment compelling is the contrast between experience and environment. Charles Leclerc, younger and deeply embedded in Ferrari's system, naturally feels more in sync with the car and the team. His performances have validated the team's current direction, making it harder for Hamilton's concerns to shift development priorities. But this is not unfamiliar territory for Lewis. In the early days of his career, he went toe-to-toe with world champions and built legacies from adversity. That mindset remains unchanged. Behind the scenes, Hamilton is reportedly spending longer hours with engineers, poring over telemetry, sharing feedback in exhaustive detail, and pushing the team to unlock new levels of understanding. This period of intense collaboration might not yield instant podiums, but it plants seeds for transformation. Ferrari, too, stands to benefit from Hamilton's